Well, if you're one of many thousands of students that has taken out a student loan and you've had it for a number of years, yes, you've completed your education, but you still owe the money, but you figured, may not have to pay it back. For a long time, the Biden administration was trying to get those loans forgiven. They went to court, and the court says, no, you can't do that. That taxpayers are entitled to their money back. So they've had a hiatus on going after these loans because of the pandemic that happened back 5 years ago. But guess what? The Trump administration has made a decision, and starting the first week of January, just so you know, the first week of January, the first 1,000 individuals with student loans in default will be contacted because they're coming after those loans. That's just 1,000. Next week it's even more. The next week is even more than that. The administration said we are going after people who owe the money, who haven't paid it, and frankly, didn't think they were going to have to pay it. And because of that, they're going to be in default on their loans, and that's going to mean everything from, garnishment of their pay, which very much could happen through the IRS, or even coming after it for their assets. I'm not sure that they're going to go that far, but it all depends on how much you owe. Now, if you had a payment plan, and yes, the government said, we're not going to enforce that for a while. Back during the Biden administration, they did exactly that. Said, we're not going to enforce it, in hopes that, maybe it would go away and nobody thought anything about it. But here's what's happened. The Trump administration took a look and said, these folks owe all this money. And this is taxpayer money. And frankly, they want it back. So if you're one of those people who has a student loan, hasn't paid it, and hasn't paid it a long time, be prepared, because you're about to get a notice from the federal government and the Internal Revenue Service saying, you owe the money, they're going to come and get it. And believe me, if they put the IRS on you and say, we're going to start garnishing your loan, they're going to contact your employer and they're going to say, start taking money out of that person's check. They can do it. Trust me, they've done it. Now, if you're not working, say, I'm unemployed or whatever, they could go after your assets or even after you. Your home, your property, your car, put a lien on stuff you own. And eventually they'll get their dollars. It sounds harsh, and in some ways it is. But the people who took out the loans, you knew what you were getting into when you took out the loan. Everybody who has a loan knows they have to repay it. And if students are out there thinking, I don't have to repay this loan, the government's going to say, gee whiz, I don't have to do it. And they tried, but the court said no, can't do that. Got to pay back the loan. So if you're in default or haven't paid your loan, guess what? You're going to be getting a letter soon. And the letter will ultimately result in the IRS and the government getting their money back. One way, shape, or form, it's going to happen. You've been informed, and now you know.